Oh, thank you and welcome. Thank you for staying with us. So, well, this is social studies. You missed that slide there. This is social studies. It's a special class set up for you. And Alero and I are the senior students. Well, we usually get a visiting professor every Saturday. Remember, we started out with the national anthem, then went on to talk about the emblems. But today, aptly so, we're talking about women in nation building. So let me start by calling out some names that some of you might not remember. So, first, Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, an activist, teacher, political campaigner, and founder of the Nigerian Women's Union. She has a total, they said, I'm sorry to use this word, but they said she was a total badass who went all out to fight for women's rights, including something as basic as driving. As Fumilayo Ransom Kuti. Margaret Ekbo made Nigeria's first female political activist. She's credited with helping women insert themselves into the First Republic. This refers to the period after Nigeria gained independence October 1 and when the military coup d'etat took place. Ladi Dosei Kwali. Ladi Kwali, she's the pioneer of modern pottery in Nigeria. She's also the first and only Nigerian woman to appear on a currency note. She's on the 20 Naira note. Florence Wakba, she's the first female writer in the country, also Africa's first female novelist to have an internationally published work in English language. Kofo Ademola, she's the first Nigerian woman to get an undergraduate degree from the Oxford University. Elizabeth Abimbola Awoli is the first female physician to practice in Nigeria. She's also the first West African woman to earn a license of royal surgeon in Dublin. General Aderonke Kale. She's the first female army general in Nigeria. She enlisted in the army after becoming a medical doctor, and on and on and on. Women who made an impact in the history of this country. There are still other women who are also making impact today. Ibukun Awoshika is one case in point. Alero is another case in point.
Another one. Yeah.
But we're talking about women in nation building, and to help us look at that, we have Buki Femi Ajala, who's a leadership expert. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good morning.
So I had to take that time to call out those names because there are some out there who may not understand that this nation had some women that really made positive impact and were part of the history of this country.
Absolutely.
But what did you mention Queen Amina, by the way?
Oh, I was going down, but
yes. Okay,
you
could mention all of them.
Yeah,
yes.
quite a lot.
Yeah. So, but the women in nation building, is it really very, 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 very important that women understand that they have a role in building a nation?
Yeah, thank you so much. I will take it from, because I've been following, the school. I've been following the school from when you started. And that was when Benite came on board, talking about, we ran you through the national anthem, the identities. Now, probably I'll first start with what is even nation building. Let us even understand what nation building is. It's not about brick and mortar and things like that. It's about the people. In fact, what I will probably just say is it's the intentional, deliberate process of constructing and fashioning, national identities. So it still boils down to all what we've been talking in the school. We're talking about who we are, which is embedded in our national anthem, in our pledge, and in our motto. So what we are saying is that we're not talking about a country. When you talk about a country, you're talking about the landmass. But we're talking about a people. I think the first school, that was when Benito was talking about a nation that it starts from a human being. If I go into the scriptures, talking about Abraham, that I am going to make you a nation. So it's not talking about the landmass, it's talking about the people. So I just want us to know that when we're talking about nation building, we're talking about people, building the national identity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you talk about people, when you talk about mothers, you talk about sisters.
Yes.
How do the women play a role in this?
Fantastic, fantastic. I will take it from two perspectives. I'll probably talk about the roots that we do, ROUTE, and then the role, how we play the role. So let me start with the role. I think it was last week we were talking about citizenship. firstly, when you look at who are you, you are firstly a citizen of Nigeria. It has nothing to do with your gender. We are only talking about the form, your function biologically. So I want us to begin to lay some matters to rest. Let's major on the major and not major on the minor.
And the minor.
When it comes to national building, we are talking about what is your role as a citizen of Nigeria. You're first a Nigerian before you now begin to say, okay, are you a male or you're a female? So what is your role as a citizen? So we're talking about what is your citizenship role. What responsibility are you carrying? What is that thing that God has given you as a Nigerian to say, this is what I want you to solve? Because we are here to solve a problem. We are here to take a responsibility and say, this, I'm responsible for it. And it stems also from all what we've been saying, our national anthem. And then you also want to talk about your community role. It has nothing to do with your gender. It is only when we now come to the family, we can now say, okay, there are roles for us to play in the family. I'm going somewhere. And when it comes into the family, you have different rooms. There's a role for you to play in the sitting room. There's a role for you to play in the kitchen room. I don't want to talk about the other room because for me, I think we need to lay that thing right. I'm telling you, there's nothing like that. It's like you enter into your children's room. For goodness sake, what do? That is where you begin to mentor the children. Oh, this is how you lay your bed, this is how you do this. In your room, where you are a couple, excuse me, it takes two to tango. So it's not just the other room that we say. Let's lay that thing to rest. It's a farce, it's nothing. Because you have a role to play, I have a role to play in it. So let's major on the major. So we're looking at women in nation building. So that is it. So I've talked about our roles. Now, I want to also see it from the roots that we play in nation building. We talked about great women. And honestly, it's time for we Nigerians to begin to document. And I challenge women, let's begin to document our story. But how do women play in nation building? You know, I've talked about what nation building is. Building people, the identity. So that when I see you as a Nigerian. You know, when you look at the coat of arms, you see the strength, you see honor, you see dignity. That's what I want to see. When I see you as a Nigerian, then I now begin to play. How do we play our role? When I was coming, you know, what came to my mind is one, we play the root we play as a seed. You know, we talk about, you know, though it's a poem, but we say the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. But truly, it's a poem by William Rose Wallace. Dates back to 1865, thereabout. It's a poem, you know, but talking about it says, for the hand that rocks the cradle is the hand that rules the world. What was it trying to say? That is a place where we as women can mold people into what we want to do. And I have examples like that. I was reading the story of this great painter, what's his name now? Picasso. You know, he was saying that his mom would tell him that if you are going to join the army, you will be a general. If you are going to be a monk, you will be a pope. But he decided to go into the creative arts and look at what has come up. Where am I going? It is the seed of greatness that the mother has done. Okay. Now, you might not say, oh, how does it lead to nation building? But look at what the mother has done. And I'm proud to say about my own pastor, too, Pastor Tunde Bakare. In his latest book, The Woman That Saw the Future, he put it there that the seed of greatness was from the mother. You know, the mother, the one that normally strikes me, freaks me out is, you know, when he said that there was he wanted to be playing football all the time. He would not want to read his books. And mother said, come, this is what you want to play football. They're not going anywhere. But you are going very far. You know, and the mother was always painting pictures. Mind you, the mother couldn't read and write. So it's not an issue of can I read, can I write? It's an issue of what is your role as a mother in, or a woman, don't let's use mother now, as a woman in nation building, you can plant the seed of greatness. Then another route that we do it is influencing, and we do that greatly. We are a strong influencer.
Okay.
Strong influencer.
Just hold
Yes.
your thoughts.
Okay.
We'll take a moment and
No
we'll
problem.
come back and look at that bit about influencing.
Thank you.
Best leaders in the world, women in their life. The worst leaders in the world had women in their life. So which one would you choose to be? We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. This is a social studies class, and we're looking at women in nation building. When we started, we called out some very fantastic women in history. Queen Amina, case in point. Shola Momo, another case in point. We're talking about the historical and present.
And present, yes.
And we have these two women in the studio. But our visiting professor today was talking about influence, the power of women to influence. And I said something before when I break that. Where there are good leaders, there are women in their lives. There are bad leaders and there are women in their lives. So
Yeah.
how are you going to handle that?
Yeah, like somebody would say, Hitler came from a family.
Had a mother,
Hitler had a mother.
He had a mother.
had a wife, had a girlfriend.
wife. You know,
Or
there
a
must
mistress,
be.
as the case
So,
may be.
so it's an issue of, you know, I said nation building has to be intentional and has to be deliberate. So you can be intentional and do bad things, and you can be intentional and do good things. So what are we saying now? We are changing mindsets. We are allowing women to understand their role.
Buki,
That, yes.
Macbeth, all the evil he did was implanted in his mind by his wife.
And
Can-
the three witches.
Can you see? So what we are saying is that we women, we should understand our role in nation building. Look at the statistics. It doesn't. It's so clear. In Nigeria, even it's very close to what we have in the world. We're talking about a percentage of 49.34%. So for the world, close to it. So when I have 107 male species, I'm going to have 100 female species. What does that tell us? We have a role to play. So it's not just we saying at the back, but we have to be there. Like my friend was saying, he said, look, if we don't understand, we don't take the importance of the women, it's like you want to fight and you do what? You have to fight with your two hands, isn't it? And you say, because somebody somewhere gave a wrong mindset that this hand is weak, let me put it back. And then you're now beginning to fight with this. Or you're on a plane that has two engines, that has two engines, and you say, because somebody said something, I'm going to fly with one. That's crashing. And that is what I want women to do. As long as we don't take up a rightful position in nation building, we won't get it right. We will not get it right. So back to the influencing stage. We look at people that have influenced. We talk about the Abraham Lincolns. Check his history. I love the story I had about, I mean, you've talked about quite a lot of Nigerian women, but some other people that we can relate to. Bill Gates, we can relate to it. He was saying that it was the mother that influenced him into philanthropy. That he remembers the card and he still treasures the card. On his wedding day, the mom wrote on that card that he that has more, I've forgotten the way it is, that if you have more, it's time for you to spread it more and bless people. That was how he started it. And then we look at the likes. We look at the likes of those who have influenced. We talked about quite a lot of them as well. Look at Indira Gandhi. He also said it. That was the mother that made him to begin to say, let me live for people. So there is an important role that we women, can do. And we should be deliberate in doing it in the positive way, because that is what we want, not negative. Right. And then the last route that I can see is where you now dominate your sphere of influence. I love that. You have reeled out a lot of people that have actually broken the glass ceiling to say, yes, I now get it. I now know my role in nation building. It's not just about me cooking. You will do that. That's a domestic role. Won't you eat? You will eat. For
You
goodness
will
sake.
do it anyway.
You will do it anyway. So it's not a big issue.
Yeah.
You understand? But now I understand my role. And of course, look at the Aba riot. I love that story. Where the women stood for justice. Are we not saying we want to build a nation where what? peace
And justice reign.
justice reign. So when we see injustice, it is for us. I mean, if your eyes are open to that injustice, it's for you to say, I want to stand up to it. Look at what the Aba women did. They stood up to the colonial masters and they got it. And in fact, because of what they did, the colonial masters now had to put them as judges. You can imagine the world. You've ruled out a lot of people. Look at what, of course, you mentioned Fumi Kuti, you mentioned Margaret Ekpo. Look at Dora Kuri. Look at what she did in nation building. Because you cannot say you are building a people and the people you are building are also destroying the health of that nation by destroying the health of the people. And she stood up against it, you understand? And then look at Adadevo. Serve with love, with might, with your strength. Look at what she did. So, no, she paid with her life. But look at what she did in nation building. Today we are talking about her. And then, of course, can we talk about all the sectors? You know, when we come to transformation issues, we talk about 7 critical sectors that make up the building, that make up the nation. We talk about government. We can see quite a lot of women that have risen up in economy. Economics, we've talked about, you talked about Awushika. I mean, that's a woman I give credit to. You know, look at what she has done in the business world. Owela, Madam Due Process. You understand? she had created a boss. You say due process. You know, that's part of nation building, you know. And of course, we talk about media. That's where you are. Antalero.
That's with the one about.
Yeah, I understand. But look at what...
Can every woman be a leader?
Absolutely, yes. You are a leader. It is only if you are now saying, I don't want to accept that role. Because by the mere fact that you are a woman, I mean, somebody will joke that the woman is the male species with the womb. But really, that instinctive value in you makes you a leader. For you to lead, for you to influence, for you to do something positively in the nation, because you are supposed to take responsibility. What does leader do? They take responsibility for the situation. We will say responsibility is the ability to respond to a situation. So if there is a situation on ground, leaders will emerge. And how will they emerge? Because they have taken responsibility. They have that ability to respond to that situation.
Okay, so in all of this, again, you've talked about some, in fact, I'm wondering, we should all shift and open the doors. Women, please, come on.
Honestly, a lot of women have to take up their role, and that's what we're saying.
The question is, what do you do? Because I know some people out there will be asking, you're saying all of these things. Women are necessary, women are needed in building a nation and all of that. But nobody's giving us a chance.
You can't wait for a chance. Excuse me. That is why I'm saying there are many situations around you that you can take responsibility for. So start from where you are. Start from your home. Start from your community. Start from your organization. There's a problem in your organization. You are there as a woman. You are saying until they give you. They will not give it to you. But it is when you rise up to the occasion, then you say, oh, I didn't know. So let us not wait for opportunities. Yes, there are some platforms that will be given to women, but you must have proven your mettle.
Yeah, but let's look at the political space in Nigeria. They say it is so rough. It is so dirty in quotes. And we have seen and heard all kinds of things happening. Do you see the women stepping into that space as much as we would want to see them?
Now, if we go back to history, look at what Margaret Ekpo did. You know, we have quite a lot of, and then the first senator in Anambra, I think she's from Anambra, the very first female senator. You know, they looked at that space and they said, no, we can't just give it to the male gender. We also have to have a part to play in it. Because if we don't, the policies, their mindsets, it will not make the country balance. It will not. And so now, I like the fact that a lot of women are now speaking, and they're now saying that it's time for you to take up your role come and fulfill it. That seat is vacant, and that is the truth. It is vacant. So we women must rise up, as many of us as want to go into governance, to take up that space.
Let me, staying with that political space, Virginia Itiaba was the first female governor in Nigeria's history,
yes.
even though it was brief.
Yes, it was
there was
very
also
brief.
the first female speaker in Nigeria's
yes.
history, even though
she's from Anambra.
Grace Alele Williams, first female vice chancellor. Yeah. Sarah Jibril, first female presidential candidate. Folake Sholanke, first woman to join the Senior Advocate of Nigeria.
The Sun.
So when you look at this, there's also the first female pilot.
Yeah. They're first in virtually every engine everywhere.
These women pushed against, as you said, broke the glass ceiling.
Broke the glass ceiling.
But is there like a succession plan? Is there like a roadmap for women to move into those places as well?
You're talking about mentoring?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, I like that. And for as many women as are watching us, we are throwing this to them that it's not just for you to get to the ladder and take the ladder off. Put the ladder there. Still put the strings there so that, you can put the ladder there and then, the things that you're supposed to, the rungs, and then you start cutting it off. No. Put it there, put the rungs in there, and allow a lot of women to climb. That's what we're saying. Though I know a lot of people have been saying that we women are our enemies and things like that, but I want to change the mindset. As long as we continue saying those things, we are spreading the wrong mindset. Let's begin to encourage ourselves. I know a lot of women, I talk to a lot of girls and women, that's my passion, that you can do it. I remember I was involved with Mrs. Akeredolu's project last year. And honestly, I give kudos to women like that. And I know quite a lot of them are doing it. But do you know what she's doing? It's nation building in its rawest form. What she does every year, she goes into the rural areas, girls that have not even used the modern, what do you call it? Sanitary towels. Even the ladies, the restrooms, they have not used the modern one. But she will bring them to the city, calm them, and what is she teaching them? Financial literacy, how to use the computer, and guess what? Solar panel, how to assemble solar panel in their home. And guess what? There was a lady, there was a girl, she said, when she was talking, because she was brought out, when she said, because of what I have done, what I've been taught in this club, in the camp, when I got home, I found out that in my village for the past 2 years there had not been light, and they were reading for WAEC. And she remembered that I have been taught how to assemble solar panel wherever, and she did in her community. If you Google, you'll see it there. She did, and of course, in the community, everybody knows. When you want to read, just go there. We celebrate Sharon that created, what do you call it, Makoko Fresh. I think it's Abisoye. Is it Abisoye or Abisola? Where she looked at it that the people in Makoko, the girls there in Makoko, hey, they have a lot of stuff, creativity, but nobody's looking at it. And she went into Makoko, she started teaching them coding. And we now have Sharon. It's a celebrated case. Sharon decided to say, hey, what am I doing? I need to build my nation. And how did she build her nation? She put all her team together, and they came up with Makoko Fresh, a website where you can buy fish.
And that's
nation building.
That's where we have to hang it. Visiting lecturer today,
yes, Makoko Fresh,
is Buki Femi Ajala, a leadership expert. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.
We'll bring you a fresh session next Saturday. But now,
please remember to come to class next week with your notepads.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
And we're going to be asking some questions. For instance, what is the meaning of the national anthem to you?
Fantastic.
To you. Answer that one for yourself. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.